Matilda is the perfect representation of how Hollywood sees women. On the one hand, we have Miss Trunchbull. She's obviously some kind of feminist, or worse, a lesbian.
Mrs. C, Mrs. U, Mrs. L-T-Y.
Why are all these women married?
She's big and strong, she's into butch sports, she dresses like a military general, and she hates kids. On the other end of the spectrum, we have Matilda's mum, who is an overly feminine bimbo, who cares about her appearance too much, and probably has never read a book in her life.
A girl does not get anywhere by acting intelligent.
And she's also bad with kids. Both of these women are doing womanhood so wrong. They've lost their main asset under patriarchy, their maternal instinct. But in between these two extremes, in the centre of the spectrum, we have the wonderful, angelic Miss Honey. She's feminine, she's modest, she's beauty, she's grace, she's Miss United States. She's destined to be a mother, but she's probably also a virgin who showers in her underwear. She is the feminine ideal, and also the most natural, the true feminine. The truest woman. Now, obviously Matilda is not a makeover movie, but it does exemplify the Miss Honey gender spectrum, which is a thing my co-writer Ada just made up. But we're going with it. We're going to use this spectrum to analyze the whole makeover movie genre. Now, ideally, any heroine undergoing a makeover will end up as Miss Honey. She may start off as a gross feminist nerd like Princess Diaries or She's All That, or maybe even the other extreme of a dirty slag like in The House Bunny or Pretty Woman, but ideally, after the makeover, she will end up in the centre. It's natural femininity, brought to you by a team of highly qualified surgeons. Little Miss Trunchbulls often start out as artists or social justice warriors. They're often queer-coded through their fashion and their lack of interest in men.
I don't know why I keep hoping you'll grow out of this tomboy thing.
I won't. I'm a lesbian. Well, that's what you think, isn't it? Because I'd rather wear a jersey than an apron?
They wear glasses to see, but they're not meant to see. They're meant to be seen. So their glasses are removed. They're often working class, they're rarely women of colour, but they do have racially coded features like curly hair, and they need to learn to accept the white aristocratic beauty ideals.
Eyes, lovely, but hidden beneath bushman eyebrows.
They may think activism is the way to go, but they will learn that true power actually lies in lipstick and hair straighteners. In The Princess Diaries, Mia's best friend might criticise Mia's makeover at first.
You have one of these bags? You know, we could hawk that and feed a whole third world country. You used to care more about what was inside your head instead of on it.
But by the end, she's like, forget my little TV show where I talk about issues that matter to me. This makeover has given you true power. You run a whole friggin' country now. You can participate in Eurovision.
I just found out that my cable show only reaches 12 people. But you... wow. How many teenagers have that power? What more of a miracle do you want?
But if our heroine is coming from the opposite direction, if she's a bimbo, then she is stripped of her layers and layers of makeup and learns to wear more modest clothing. A blazer is always a sensible option. It's a femininity which takes equal effort, but which passes as effortless. She woke up like this. But sometimes the makeover will go too far. In her quest for acceptance, the heroine might pass over the Miss Honey ideal into the other extreme. Lainey comes to the party looking like a clone of the school queen bee. Shelley goes from Playboy bunny to such a geek even her nerdy love interest can't swallow it. This helps us understand that being Miss Honey is not the heroine being pushed to a disingenuous extreme. It's authentic femininity. She might have started out like this and ended up looking like this, but don't worry, she's still herself. If she was no longer herself, she would look like this. See, this is going too far, but this is authentic. She's still wearing black, see? She's basically the same person, she just happens to have much bigger boobs.
I had gone from homeschool jungle freak to shiny plastic to actual human being.
Makeover movies tap into this ancient idea that a marble slab has the form of the statue already inside of it, and it only needs the talent and the chisel of the artist to carve it out. Our Pygmalions making over these women are not twisting and changing them, they're simply bringing out the hidden beauty that was already there.
Given the right look, the right boyfriend, bam, in 6 weeks, she's the one being crowned prom queen.
The whole point of makeover movies is to establish the parameters of acceptable femininity and to fix everything outside of that. Sometimes you might even get both extremes made over in the same film, like in The House Bunny or Mean Girls, where we start with the popular girls on one side and the outcasts on the other, but by the end of the movie, they Pygmalion the shit out of each other and now they all look the same. Deep inside, we are all Miss Honey. We just need a highly skilled team of experts to wax our bikini lines and sort out our fucking eyebrows. And maybe our heroine is a little bit skeptical of industries selling these misogynist beauty ideals such as the pageant industry or the fashion industry, but through the magic of the makeover, she will learn to embrace them.
It's like feminism never even happened, you know?
There are many who consider the Miss United States pageant to be outdated and anti-feminist.
I used to be one of them. And then I came here. These women are smart, terrific people who are just trying to make a difference in the world.
The makeover corrects the problem of the modern feminist, that she is smart and independent, but she's also ugly and she doesn't have a boyfriend. So how did we get here? Well, it's kind of Audrey Hepburn's fault. If you've ever seen My Fair Lady, you'll be familiar with Henry Higgins and Eliza Doolittle. Higgins gives the impoverished Eliza an upper-class makeover to the point where she can literally pass as a princess. And this retro image of Audrey Hepburn embodies an ideal femininity from the days before feminism came and ruined everything. She's not gross and unseemly, but she's also not a slut either. She's prim and proper and petite, yet intelligent like a modern woman. Just not too modern. So she'll have no trouble finding a husband. She is the blueprint. And most makeover movies today still follow the basic My Fair Lady formula, which goes like this. We have our Eliza figure. She's probably working class and she's clumsy, so the audiences can go, oh my god, she's just like me. But to succeed in life, to become popular, to achieve class mobility and get a boyfriend, all the things a normal girl would want, she needs a makeover. She might not even think she wants those things, but she'll get them whether she fucking wants it or not. There's often a bet or a deal of some kind involved, so the Higgins character has a mission, even if he doesn't particularly like the girl.
A bet?
I'll bet you all the expenses of the experiment you can't do it. It's a bet.
And the makeover often looks quite industrial. Shaw's Higgins doesn't have a study, he has a Frankenstein-y lab full of gadgets. And later makeovers can still be quite industrial, with teams of workers cleaning and plucking and waxing nether regions. Eating is often also a problem. You can't have body fat if you expect a man to love you. At some point, they usually take her out for a test drive to a big party so they can see if she passes as rich and or fancy. And of course, she fails. But then, after doing some more work, she gets a big Cinderella reveal where she finally proves herself. But in the process of creating his perfect woman, Higgins is also changed. He may have changed her looks, but she changed his heart. In a way, it's like they transformed each other, and now his heart is open to having a super hot girlfriend. As you can see, the makeover is highly problematic. But not anymore, not in the 21st century. Now that the ice caps are melting and Gen Z looks 45, we've not only cancelled this trope, we've given it a makeover. From Do Revenge to He's All That, the makeover is alive and well, but Hollywood has stayed skibbity with the times.
I could, try to Pygmalion you.
Isn't it anti-feminist?
I don't mean a feminized transformation in order to please a cis man.
We have to do.
Oh, please don't say me.
A makeover. Yay!
Feels so problematic.
It is, but it's fun.
There's the gender swap, where Henry Higgins is now a woman, making over some poor guy. Tear off those glasses and his greasy beanie and reveal those incredible muscles underneath that we never knew this nerdy little guy had. This is feminist because the girls are in control, and girls get it done. In the traditional story, the male creator makes over a woman for his own amusement or a bet, and sometimes she doesn't even know what's happening. But interestingly, even in the gender-swapped Pygmalion, the women are weirdly disempowered. The female Pygmalion is often forced into it by him, sometimes even forced into fake dating him. Maybe she's busted up her mum's car and he'll fix it, but for a price. Or maybe she's lost the sponsorship that is her livelihood and can only get it back by making him over. Even when trying to subvert this trope by swapping the genders, writers still seem reluctant to give female Pygmalions the full power of their male counterparts. And maybe that's because they tend to still be written by men who'll be like, I know what women like. They will like my favorite aeroplanes. Chicks love busted old aeroplanes. There's also the liberated woman subversion, where we ask, shouldn't the makeover woman get her freedom rather than ending up with the dodgy Henry Higgins? And this actually harks back to the original play My Fair Lady was based on, where Eliza was meant to be liberated by the end, rather than ending up in the weird, creepy relationship with Henry Higgins. But audiences like creepy, weird relationships, and didn't think Eliza's liberation was as cute as the rom-com ending, so that's what we got for the movie adaptations. Thus, the makeover rom-com was born. But things are starting to change now. Even a recent stage version of My Fair Lady has been altered to give Eliza her freedom. That's just where we are now. That's the zeitgeist. And some films take it even further and portray the makeover as just something straight up evil. Disney's Descendants is like a reverse makeover movie where the makeover is a force of evil, a tool to manipulate the unpopular supporting characters. And by the end of the film, it's undone with a heartwarming message that you don't need any of that. You're already perfect just the way you are.
You are beautiful. Inside and out.
Well, that's what they're saying. Makeover bad. But what they're showing is that if you want to play not a minor character but a protagonist in a Disney movie, you need to conform to unrealistically high beauty standards. Remember, kids, you're perfect just the way you are. Just make sure you get a bit of friggin' lip filler, for God's sake. Netflix's new film Uglies is about a dystopian future in which the government forces you to get plastic surgery when you turn 16. Anyone who doesn't get their makeover is deemed an ugly with a capital U and an outcast of society. Uglies is the extreme 21st century response to the makeover. The makeover is literally dystopian. It's the opposite of freedom.
I don't want to be free, I want to be pretty.
And look how ugly these uglies are. Oh my gosh, I can barely stand to look at them. They're such hideous monsters. Oh, get them away from me. Help me. Save me from the uglies. So again, we're being told, makeover bad.
It's about who you are on the inside.
What you do, the way you think, makes you beautiful.
But what we're seeing on screen is that if you want to play a literal ugly person in a movie, then you've got to look like an AI-generated TikTok influencer. The leader of the Ugly Rebellion is literally played by a model. You can't call these guys ugly. I mean, come on, they're not even wearing glasses. So again, this is how Hollywood is keeping up with the times. We might be rejecting the makeover nominally, but we're not actually rejecting its values. And because our modern subversions of the makeover tend to be so nominal, we've just found other ways to work them into our films, like in Greta Gerwig's award-winning toy commercial, Barbie. At the beginning of the film, we have our overly feminine bimbo, that's obviously Barbie, but we also have our goth tomboy feminist bitch, Sasha. To begin with, they're literally opposites. Barbie is wearing hot pink, skin tight, more revealing clothes. Sasha is completely covered up, wearing loose clothes, all black. And Gloria is literally the midway point between them. This is our gender spectrum for this film, from pink Barbie to goth Sasha, with Miss Honey Gloria firmly in the middle. But Sasha is quietly pinkified in the background of the film.
Women hold all major positions of power, control all the money. Basically everything that men do in your world, women do in ours.
I mean, that sounds kind of cool.
So we have a female president, and it's fun and work and friendship and females 24/7.
As she's convinced that Barbie is good for women actually, her personality is stripped away, gradually replaced by a pink Barbie look. But in the end, back in the real world, she's come back to a middle ground. Her black has been completely taken away, and now she's wearing pink with a grey hoodie. And Barbie goes in the opposite direction, from flamboyant bimbo pink to beige and white. She's not a bimbo at all anymore, much more authentic, more natural. In fact, she's literally dressed the same as Julia Roberts at the end of Pretty Woman after she has reached her own authentic femininity, right down to the hairstyle. Barbie and Sasha start out as polar opposites, and by the end of the film, they are kind of the same. They're both kind of Miss Honey. It's reminiscent of the House Bunny and Mean Girls, where the nerds and the hoe each need to find the neutral ground, the true femininity. Like Katie, Barbie goes from plastic to actual human being, but this time, literally. And Gloria is the one dictating the borders of acceptable femininity. And actually, Gloria is wearing the Julia Roberts outfit too, and she's proposing the idea of ordinary Barbie. We barely know anything about Sasha, except that she hates Barbie and has been distant from her mum. And those two things are basically the same thing. Once she relearns to love Barbie, she also reconnects with her mum. Sasha is the good old makeover trope of miserable feminist learns to love sexist thing. And of course, we completely ignore all of Sasha's critiques of Barbie.
You've been making women feel bad about themselves since you were invented. You represent everything wrong with our culture. Sexualized capitalism, unrealistic physical ideals.
No.
You destroy girls' innate sense of worth, and you are killing the planet with your glorification of rampant consumerism.
Instead, we focus on a more attainable critique, on Gloria's lament that Barbie isn't relatable.
What about ordinary Barbie? She just has a flattering top, and she wants to get through the day feeling kind of good about herself.
So Barbie goes from hot pink and Chanel suits to H&M chic and just trying to make it through the day. Sasha has been made over, Barbie has been made over, and now Gloria can finally be happy with both of them again. As much as people like to say that this film celebrates girls, the truth is that it only celebrates the femininity which complements the Barbie brand. Sasha's femininity is abhorrent and needs to be overcome. The melodramatic woke leftist needs to learn to enjoy life and buy into Barbie. Sasha belongs to the same tradition of nerdy, kind of lesbian-looking girls who prioritize the wrong things as Lainey and Mia. They care too much about activism and art and practical clothes, and not enough about how pretty they could be. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, the bimbos need to be fixed because they're too sexy. They might have even started charging for it. Or they're just dumb or just plain mean. They're too much and they need to become respectable, palatable women. And that's what the makeover is about. It's not about ugly women. Glasses don't make a beautiful woman ugly. At its core, the makeover is about turning queer-looking feminists into non-feminists and turning dumb bimbos into respectable women. And like other films of today, Barbie follows in these traditions, except now we call it feminism. We all know the boundaries of acceptable femininity. And thanks to this video and the Miss Honey gender spectrum, you are now fully equipped to correct your own femininity and become a pretty, respectable, actual human being. Remember, ladies, don't hide behind your glasses.
The eyes are the nipples of the face.
This video is a segment from a slightly more unhinged, much longer video, How to Build a Feminist, which is available over on our Patreon, so please consider supporting us on Patreon and checking that out. Thank you to all of our patrons and an extra special thanks to this lot.